All right, welcome back. And yes, let's get into some conversations now that are brewing already, and to keep you up to date with some of the things that are going on across the country as we already are counting down in minutes now. Or say in hours, maybe later tonight we'll count down in minutes to the kickstart of the 2023 general elections. Welcome back on board. This is Eagles FM election chat room, where we're giving you all the up-to-date analysis, news and reports as it concerns the 2023 general elections here from our studios live in Abuja, and we're sure to keep you updated as well. So let's look at some of the stories that have been making the rounds over the past 24 hours. Now we hear that Anambra Party chairman and journalist kick over electoral material inspection. Now this story is just telling us that some party chairmen, various party chairmen and journalists were at the office of the Independent National Electoral Commission in Awka on Thursday, that was yesterday, and were left stranded. Now they were left stranded because the state's Resident Electoral Commission, I beg your pardon now, Dr. Queen Agu, refused to attend to their inquiries. The party chairman and the media men had wanted to observe the movement of the electoral materials from the Central Bank of Nigeria, Awka, but were shut out. The party chairman and party agents who were spotted around 8 p.m. at the CBN office alleged that INEC loaded voting materials into trucks without having them, without having the serial numbers for documentation. Speaking to journalists, the state chairman of the People's Democratic Party, Ndubisi Mobu, described the attitude of INEC officials as very disappointing, and adding that the party agents wanted to know the details of the voting materials as they would communicate to their party officials to cross-check them when they arrive. We think it's quite too early for INEC to begin to behave like this, but we are waiting and we're hoping that they would reply. In quote, now he said, we're hoping that tomorrow morning before the materials leave Central Bank, INEC officials would avail us the serial numbers of various local government councils. It's already 8 p.m. so they waited there till about past 8 p.m. to get the serial numbers of the sensitive election materials that were sent to the Central Bank office in Awka, and that didn't happen. But they hope that tomorrow morning, before they dispatch them or they dispatch them, they would get these things, and so that they can send it to their agents across board. INEC has been told to play according to the rules of the game. You know, it's important that they view these things. Like we told you that we saw videos from Calabar. Now, people actually followed, not party officials now, electorate, followed the army and the election materials from when it landed straight to the Central Bank premises or office in Calabar, and it was a beautiful sight to behold. It shows that the people are ready to defend your vote and also ensure that their vote counts. All of this we'll see in the coming days. So moving now to other stories. The cash crunch is still on. There's no enough money in circulation, and this is affecting political parties. The Supreme Court had adjourned the case to March 3rd, and one is wondering why the Supreme Court will keep shifting grounds. But hey, what can we say? They are the apex court, and let's see how that pans out on the 3rd of March. But again, we're getting disturbing reports that parties are groaning as a result of the cash crunch. Now we also hear that parties are struggling to pay their polling unit agents, and they may just resort to using volunteers. And well, this would in some way spell out to know if we are doing money politics or doing the actual politics. Because again, you may like to say that party officials or agents may want to hold petty cash, you know, get one or two things, you know, and be up and about. But again, they should probably have bank accounts where they can transfer to. The question again is, are these monies available to them? Can they go to POS and withdraw these monies and use them to buy, like Francis Keyamo, the spokesman of the APC presidential campaign, said they need to buy bread, they need to buy Coke, they need to buy soft drink, they need to buy akara, they need to buy granite, they need to buy water, they need to buy those small things. That's what they need cash for. But again, Honorable Al-Hassan Dogowa, yes, a House leader in the lower chambers of the National Assembly, has said in a press briefing last week that the Constitution, the law, allows for him who's vying for a federal representative seat to have 70 million naira in cash. I wish I was there. I would have asked him, what part of the law allows you to hold 70 million naira in cash? Maybe our lawmakers are mistaking the law that allows for the amount of money you can spend throughout your election circular process and all of that. Maybe they're mistaking that, and then he said all of that. But again, doesn't look like the federal government is backing down on its decision for the redesign and also the deadline for the notes. The AGF, that's the Attorney General of the Federation, has also said that the federal government did not breach any Supreme Court rule. So nothing happened. So I don't know why you guys are upset. Those were his words. But again, we're hearing that political parties on Thursday admitted that they had difficulties sourcing cash that would be used to pay their polling unit agents during Saturday's election. Officials of parties including the APC, the PDP, and the New Nigerian People's Party in separate interviews attributed the problem to the central bank's cashless policy. They added that some of their agents would not be paid as they would work as volunteers. Speaking with one of our correspondents, the director of strategic communications for the APC presidential campaign Council, Idris Mohammed, disclosed that no political party could boast of having bulk cash to pay its supporters for mobilization and other logistics. Now we also hear that he said, in quote, "It's a general problem, as you know, and we are not aware of anybody getting bulk money from our party. The federal government has instituted a cashless policy, and there is nothing we can do than to go with the policy." This is an abridged statement of what he said. So that's basically what it is now, and they are resorting to using volunteers. Let's see how that pans out. But in the meantime, you can be part of the conversation. Call me up 09073530044 or 09087668888. Better so you can call me or send me a WhatsApp message to 09097054450. Call me up. Let's have this conversation quickly before our next guest comes in the next hour. Let me know exactly what is going up with you and your reaction to any of these stories that I'm reading up now. So let's hear from you. Also, taking on some other stories here, we see that the APC in Edo State is accusing the governor of plots to use vigilantes for election. A time of attacks and counterattacks. We'll see how all of that pans out. But in the meantime, we hear that the Edo State chapter of the APC on Thursday alleged that the state government was planning to use its Edo State Vigilante Network to intimidate opposition and manipulate Saturday's elections. The APC made the allegation in a statement by its publicity secretary Peter Owadie on Thursday. The party alleged that there was a secret move by Governor Obaseki to use the Edo State Vigilante Network to intimidate, harass, and cause mayhem during and after the elections, particularly in the rural areas of the state. And that's exactly what they have said. Let's see who is here now. Hello.
Yeah, hello, Dan.
Good morning and welcome.
Good morning, Danny. This is Comrade Aruna from Airport Road.
Aruna, you're welcome. What is the vibe where you are now?
Well, the town is somehow scanty. You don't see much people moving around. The Airport Road, most of the vehicles I've seen is the what is it called? These official vehicles coming from airport. These are the things I witnessed when I was passing the Airport Road now. So, but I don't see much people. It just look like Saturday on a normal ground. You know, during the weekends, people don't go out, don't go for work. So that is just how today looks like to me.
Can it be attributed?
Yeah.
Can it be attributed to the fact that people might have gone home for the elections?
I suspect that. I suspect maybe because of the election, people do not go to work today, and then just feeling at home. Those who want to travel have traveled, and those who their polling unit is within the Abuja, they are just at home trying to see how they can go for casting their vote tomorrow. So that is just what I am suspecting.
All right,
Danny, I want to react to that senator that. I listened to that news saying that as a senator, the constitution gave him the right to go away with 70 million naira in cash for the election. And he also mentioned for that of the presidency, by law, it's been allowed to go with 1 billion naira for election. The thing sounds funny to me. How I wish I'm a journalist around that area. I would have asked him, are you investing in election, or why would you need such kind of money? You understand? It sounds funny. If you just want to, what are you using 70 million naira in cash to do? And he also tried, he's a very funny guy, he tried to defend himself and say it's for logistics. So if people want to vote for you, are you taking the responsibility of their logistics? If I want to vote for my candidate, is a sacrifice I want to do for him. Wherever my polling unit is, I will trek or I'll find the means to go there and vote. You understand? So I don't understand this kind of law that they alone they sit and do the law without our concept and go ahead and make it a law. So I don't think it's a welcome idea. Anyway, thank God for this cashless issue. People are finding it difficult to, most especially the politicians are finding it very difficult to get cash to mobilize their. Now you see, they said they are having what is it called, volunteers. A party agent to become a volunteer. It sounds funny, but anyway, we just want free and fair election. And let's see, whoever that wins, please, is our president, irrespective of your party. Let's support the person and see how we can move this country to a better place.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dan. That's my opinion.
Comrade Haruna, thank you for sharing your thoughts with us here on the matter. Thank you very, very much. Okay, so like I said earlier, let's be very careful of sharing fake news. We're hearing a lot of very fake news here, and we're seeing them. We will not share that. Let's be very, very careful with what we share. Okay, in the meantime, let's go on a short break, and then we'll be ready with our guest from SBM Intelligence Lagos. Let's know exactly all that they have put together in our report. I'll be right back. Good afternoon and welcome to Abuja in 60 seconds. United Nations demand respect of peace accord ahead of general elections. IGP deploys 3 CPs to Imo on election duty. Banks to shut branches early today ahead of polls. NCC says no network shutdown for elections. And in business, MBS says cooking gas price rose by 39%. In sports, Alex Iwobi ranked most creative EPL player ahead of Salah and Mahrez. In entertainment, R. Kelly gets fresh 20-year jail term for child porn crimes. And in weather, the weather today will be high at 31 degrees Celsius and low at 20, mostly hazy. That's today in 60 seconds.
Are you listening?
Hi there. You are listening to Eagles 102.3 FM Abuja. Do connect with us on all our social media platforms, Facebook and Instagram at
The elections are here. The candidates are slugging it out at the polls. Eagles 102.3 FM Abuja is on ground to bring you up-to-date analysis on the elections. From the polling units to the collation centers, Eagles FM Abuja will take you through it with in-depth analysis and great conversation. Join Eagles FM election chatroom anchors from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. daily as they bring you up-to-date analysis and great conversations with analysts on the elections. Don't miss it. Alright, good morning again, or good afternoon now, and welcome. Yes, we're back here on our Eagles election chat room where we are having conversations on the elections. It's less than 24 hours to the general elections, like I said earlier, and I also promised you that we'll be speaking with our friends at SBM Intelligence in Lagos over a work that they have done as it concerns the election and all of the information that will help us and guide our analysis as we count down to the general elections in less than 24 hours now. So I've been joined by Mr. Ikemesit Efyong, who is head of research at SBM Intelligence, joining us live from Lagos to look at the report, the EIE SBM election forecast. The report contained a forecast on turnout, voter apathy, security, and general election perception, and that's why they're joining us here to talk about it. And yes, he's live here via video conferencing. Good morning, Mr. Efyong. Good morning, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be with you.
All right. First off, can you give us an overview on the report that SBM did with EIE?
Yeah, sure. I think one thing that the way I like to start this conversation is that one thing that we've clearly seen during this cycle is that polling has really emerged as the star of the show, as where there have been multiple polls that have been commissioned, right, by multiple organizations throughout the course of this election cycle. There have also been many polls that have actually not been released publicly. The political parties, to the best of my knowledge, at least two of them have been polling within this cycle. I think what that just illustrates is just the fact that there's an appetite, right, for a deeper understanding of how Nigeria's politics is currently constituted. But one of the things that we noticed, right, over the course of this cycle is that a disproportionate focus has been put by these polls on gaming the presidential election race. So, who is up, who is winning what state, by how many percentage points, and, how are they moving and how are they tracking compared to, previous polls. We, with the election forecast, which was supported by Enough is Enough Nigeria, which is a civil society organization that's very active in engaging on election and politically related outcomes, wanted to put the focus of the entire election season back on the most important component, which is the voter, right? So we wanted to understand how the voter was feeling about, the average voter was feeling about the election, what their perspectives were on a number of things, issues such as security, what's going on in the economy, the place of ethnicity and religion and how it would affect their thinking around the elections, INEC, right, and its ability to deliver a free, fair and credible outcome, also testing key items around just election day management. So we tested voter perception of BVAS, right, the biometric voter accreditation system. We also asked respondents what they thought about the electoral law that was literally just passed a year ago this month. And we also wanted to understand how vote buying would be a factor in this election cycle. Of course, we also did the thing that every other poll did in terms of making projections and all of that. But for us, the core remit of getting into this was to try to understand what the voter is thinking, how they are feeling about these important issues, and what that all means for how tomorrow, as well as the governorship contest, which will come up right next month, would be, and some of the findings were very, very interesting.
All right. I want to presume that this is not the first research or work SBM is doing as it concerns elections.
Oh no, this isn't the first one, right? So this was our third poll in this cycle alone. But having said that, this is the first one where we published all the data, so all of the research that fed into our work. And we did our first poll in September. It was sort of in-house, as it were. The only aspect of that poll that we actually published at the time was concerning voter turnout. So at the time, PVC collection rates were still at about average, and our concern was that was going to have a disproportionate effect on voter turnout on election day. So we did that in September of last year. In December, we released our first projection for where we thought the candidates would be and where they lie. With respect to the elections, we did that in December. It was the result of research and a poll, right, that we did, but we really didn't explain sort of the reasoning, or at least we didn't explain in as much detail, because we actually published justifications for our poll as to why we projected the states as they were. And then this is the third one, and with this one we just decided, this close to the elections, let's just put everything out there.
All right, from your research, because your research also carries conversations around voter apathy, security, and all of that. From your research, before we get into your research, let's look at statistics over the past if you say 2-3 election circles. Voter apathy has been a serious issue. In fact, the numbers have not gotten better in every election cycle as we have had in the past. Now, does your report see an improvement in voter apathy? Does your report see the numbers out of 90? Because we read a particular report that projected about 40% turnout out of 93 million, according to INEX numbers. 40% of that. But does your report see anything better as regards the numbers with voter apathy in this year's election?
Yeah. As a matter of fact, we think that voter turnout will easily scale past 40. So we're looking at a 46 to 48, 49% voter turnout band. And we think that this cycle will be slightly better than in 2015, where the voter turnout was about 45%. And I think that's sort of been the highest since the Obasanjo years, right? As it were, so 1999 and 2003 contests, which were in the high 50s to mid 60%. And we think that will be the case for a number of factors. First, PVC collection rate picked up dramatically, right? Between the time when we did our first election study in September and now, INEC literally just released numbers, I think, yesterday. We showed that collection rates are high. And what was actually interesting for us is that the collections, so there's something to be seen in blogs, obviously. PVC collection rates have been good. But in terms of the rates, so when you compare the number of PVC collections to the number of registrations per state, you find out that in parts of the country where voter turnout has been abysmal, right, during the last few election cycles, PVC collection rates have been very high. In the southeast and in the south-south geopolitical zones, for example, I think there's only one state between those two geopolitical zones, and there are 12 states right between them, that had a PVC collection rate that was lower than 90%. So it's like every state in those two geopolitical zones have PVC collection rate above 90%. And those two regions are traditionally the regions that see the least amount of voter turnout. I think average voter turnout in the southeast in the last cycle was a little under 20%. In the southeast was in the south rather, it was about 22 to 23%. And so that's one factor. The second factor is that for the first time, really since we became a presidential republic, we're having a 3-man presidential horse race. It's not just a 3-man presidential horse race. The front runners, right, in this particular cycle all represent the major ethnic groups in this country. So everyone feels like they have a stake in this particular contest, right? Also squared, third factor, the fact that the country is in sort of the economic and the security situation that it is, and if anything, the situation with the currency crisis, with the energy crisis, with fuel scarcity that are seen right across the country has actually animated and inflamed a lot of voters. And this was stuff that we heard right over the course of carrying out our study. And so if anything, those two issues have just crystallized, just how poor the overall state of the economy is. Add on to that the fact that insecurity continues to remain a theme that has run through, the last 6 to 7 years, but may have gotten a bit worse, right? And over the last few months, you're seeing, cases of political violence, election-related violence, the fortunate situation that happened in many good states with the senatorial candidate of one of the political parties, really just underscores for many people the importance of this election cycle, and the fact that many people actually see this election as a very, very important moment in Nigeria's political history. And so because of all of those factors, and then just overall interest has been high, the breakout of political education, the proliferation of social media and technology, heightened media interest and reporting, all of this, you can't look to the left or to the right without seeing or hearing anything political. And the fact that we've had a very long campaign season, and so attitudes, perspectives, and all of those things have actually had time to really, really sip and deepen down. You can just think about how, we've taken time to marinate